Never Split the Difference, written by Chris Voss, former FBI hostage negotiator. I heard about him in one of my business classes, went down a bit of a rabbit hole. 6 hours worth of podcasts later, I realized I've been negotiating wrong my entire life. So, I bought his book. Another 6 hours worth of reading or so, my life has changed. How was that for a hook, huh? Never Split the Difference. I've applied, or at least tried to apply, the things in this book for the past few weeks. This is what I've learned. The book is laid out in 10 chapters. Each chapter has little nuggets of information. But rather than summarizing each chapter, I want to just mention the lessons that I've learned that have had the biggest impact not only on how I negotiate, but how I live my life. For context, I'm a real estate agent, property manager, builder, and developer, but I'm also a college student. I'm graduating in a month, so if you're watching this after May of 2023, no longer a college student. That's tough. Also, before I forget, I will be giving you away a free copy at the end of this video, so stick around and see how you can get it. Anyway, my life is full of negotiations, not only in business, but in my everyday activities. And as much as I've always thought of myself as a good negotiator, I've been doing it wrong my entire life. I've had so many misconceptions about what it means to negotiate and negotiate correctly, and me thinking I'm good at it is actually little proof that I actually am. In fact, if I had been half the negotiator that I thought I was, my life would have had much less conflict. So let's start with a few of the misconceptions that I had. First off, I thought of negotiation as a zero-sum game, where one party's gain is directly tied to the other party's loss. In many cases, the belief led me to adopt a far more adversarial win-lose approach that is often counterproductive. In reality, many negotiations offer the potential for mutual gain, where both parties can benefit from a successful outcome. For example, if I'm trying to convince you to subscribe, it's with the intention that we both win. You get some good informative content, and I get to continue making good videos. Win-win.
Win, win, win.
That extra win is probably YouTube. Another misconception, I thought negotiation was all about getting the best deal. Always. This focus on individual gain can sometimes, more often than not, be short-sighted. It's like in chess. It's not really about winning points, about trading pieces to your benefit. The goal is bigger. It's checkmate. In many cases, building relationships, maintaining goodwill, and fostering collaboration can be far more important than just getting the absolute best deal. Don't win the battle, win the war. And the last big misconception that I've had is thinking that negotiation is all about logic and reason. I can't tell y'all how many times I've argued based solely on logic and reason and was baffled at the fact that the argument was even taking place. But it's undeniable. Emotions and intuition play such a significant role. Neglecting the emotional aspects of negotiation can prevent you from building rapport, understanding the other party's perspective, and connecting on a deeper level. Now, by recognizing and overcoming these misconceptions, I was able to adopt more effective strategies that lead to better outcomes. I'm going to tell you the top 3 that stood out from this book and touch on some concrete steps that you can incorporate into your daily life to become a better negotiator. First thing, focus on listening. This isn't the first thing accidentally, it literally is the thing that must precede everything else in order to be a successful negotiator. Negotiation is not simply convincing the others of your perspective. It's not about speaking louder than the rest, talking over people. It's about understanding what the other person wants, understanding what you want, and then finding the best path forward. Now, you can't really do that without first listening. You should, just as a basic rule, listen more than you talk. Always remember that. Voss really emphasizes active listening as a good skill to acquire. He defines that active listening as fully engaging with the other person's words, tone of voice, and their body language to understand the perspective, emotions, and needs. It involves several key elements. Number one is it's simple. It's paying full attention. This means focusing solely on the other person and their message without distractions or interruptions, not looking at your phone, things like that. Number 2, mirroring and labeling. Mirroring is just saying the last few words that they said in a question format. I don't know that I want to sell that low. I wouldn't feel comfortable. You wouldn't feel comfortable? It's just phrasing those last few words in a question format, and this helps get more information out of them so as to better understand them. Labeling is basically just repeating back what the other person said in your own words to ensure that you're understanding them correctly. Now, this doesn't mean twisting their words to try to fit them into your mold of what you wish they were saying.
Right, so you're saying...
No. Number 3, just ask clarifying questions. If you don't really know what the person means, just ask questions to clarify their position. And last point on that active listening is to validate their emotions. You have to acknowledge the other person's emotions and demonstrate empathy towards their feelings, even if you don't really agree. So that was the first thing, focus on listening, active listening. And those 2 things I said about mirroring and labeling, if you get nothing else out of this video, get that. They are so essential and super easy to implement. Just every day this week, try it out. Someone says something, label it and put it in your own words. Try to see if you truly understand what they said. You will make them feel heard, understood, and on your end, you will actually get the benefit of making sure you understand. And also this week, someone says something and you want them to elaborate, mirror it back to them and then shut your mouth. I don't want to sell that low, I wouldn't feel comfortable. You wouldn't feel comfortable? And then shh, no words. They will elaborate. This takes practice and it's probably the second big thing I learned from this book. Be comfortable in silence. Don't feel like you need to speak. We're all horrible with silence, but part of being a good negotiator is using silence strategically. It can be a powerful tool. It encourages the other person to reveal their needs. Now, nobody likes awkward silence, so you being comfortable in it and not feeling the need to fill it with words or information only increases your power in the negotiation. As soon as I heard this rule, I realized I suck at it. It's very difficult. You ask something, or you make a claim, or you make an argument, and there's just a little bit of hesitation or pause or silence, and we just rush to fill it with an explanation. Stop. calm down, make your point, and let them answer it. Now, last big lesson that I got from the book, there are a lot more, but these are the big three, is to ask calibrated questions, to emphasize certain types of answers. Calibrated questions are simply open-ended, and they encourage the other person to talk and provide you with valuable information. These open-ended questions, the best ones start with what and how, sometimes why, but that's trickier to use effectively. Now, some of the best questions, he actually lists them out here on a chapter. It's things like, what about this is important to you? How can I help make this better for us? How can we solve this problem? How am I supposed to do that? This last one, how am I supposed to do that? Gold. This is such a good question when the opposing party is asking something that seems unreasonable to you, because it gets them to either realize what they are asking is really not that reasonable. Or maybe they'll simply tell you how they think their problem should be solved. Which at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want their problem solved. And this question gets them to solve it themselves. I've implemented these questions a lot with the tenants I manage. Whenever they ask for something unreasonable. For example, one guy was complaining about the fact that his internet was giving him trouble, and at this point, I've been helping him resolve this issue for some time, doing everything I could to fix it, speaking with the internet providers every day, but it was just taking time. And asking him, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do that? Really allows him to put himself in my shoes and realize that we're on the same side, both just trying to fix this issue. And it's really not that simple. This book, cannot recommend it enough. I will have it linked below, along with the interviews of Jocko Willink and Lex Friedman. Oh, and again, like I said in the beginning, I will be giving a free copy to a random subscriber who leaves a comment down below, with one caveat. You give it to someone else after you finish reading it, spread the love, and I will see y'all in the next video.